my database is much more than just a place to track tickets. I've created an entire ecosystem to basically manage my entire company. Good morning, this is Michael with Field Tech Academy. Today I am headed to a service call that's out of town. It's about a 2-hour drive for me. I thought since I had some time I would share some different thoughts that I just haven't had time to record on. Obviously I'm driving, so I'm not going to be able to look at the phone, so I apologize. First off, there's a lot of things I've been working on in the past few months. I've been making a switch from a paid database that I've been using. It was called Zoho Creator, and I was using that to manage my company. With the big push going on in AI and the tools that are now available to all of us, I have been able to, since May until now, and it's August now in this video, I've been able to completely build a replacement database for my company. It's absolutely mind-boggling what I've been able to accomplish. I am just so excited about the fact that I have built this by myself with the help of AI, and I've been using X's Grok to do it. And the coding, I mean, I'm not going to say that it's perfect, and you've still got to have a lot of hand-holding with the AI, but it's incredible what I've been able to pull off. What I use my database for is managing my entire company. What that means is I put all of my tickets into that system so that I can track them. That includes clients like Field Nation and Work Market, and of course all of my direct clients. Do you really need a database to manage Field Nation and Work Market tickets? Not really, because you've got their website to go to. You can see what's open, what's not been billed, what has been paid. So if you're just working on those websites, then you probably don't need a separate tracking system. You might have an Excel spreadsheet or maybe QuickBooks or something where you track your payments and keep track of all your finances. But for me, I have employees, I have equipment, I have obviously multiple clients. I have to have a central place where I can manage all of my tickets. I also have employee technicians that work for me, so I use my database to track them. I keep all of their employment information in there. I've built out a timesheet and a payroll report, and I've also built in incentive pay so that they are incentivized to do things like closing their jobs on time, checking in on time, showing up on time, doing all their paperwork, and basically ensuring that by the time the ticket gets to me on completion, I can just go in and look at my tickets to bill report and just bill tickets and get it done with. I've also built in check-in forms for my employees to use. On Field Nation and Work Market, they have a check-in system, and that is something that I as an employer could look at to see if my technician was checked in. But for a lot of direct clients, they may not have a website. The only way I have to know if the technician is on site is for them to tell me that they're on site. And through the years, I've tried different methods. I'd have them text me to let me know. My most recent database, I built a form for them to check in, and I've done that again in my new database. What's really nice is in the new database, when they do the check-in form, then it actually goes into the ticket and modifies certain fields so that in the database I see that it's shifted from just being a pending ticket to being a ticket where they're on site. Then when they are done, they go in and they fill out a closeout form, and that moves the ticket into my billing report. What's important about the closeout form is it also allows them to upload their deliverables to the database, which right now I'm using integration with Google Drive. And on the scheduling side, I'm using integration with Google Calendar. My database talks to these different Google features and actually puts the event on the calendar for me. When they close it out, the files are in Google Drive and they're linked to the ticket, like literally in my database. I go to the ticket, I can click a link that will jump right to that Google Drive folder. I may eventually move to storing all of the files on my actual website instead of integrating with Google Drive. But I don't think I can ever really get completely away from the Google features, because that calendar is a nice feature to use, and I use that throughout my company. I put all of my appointments, all of my employees' appointments on a shared Google Calendar so that they can see where they're supposed to be at what time. And I use the database to fill out different parts of that calendar so that the title gives them the client name, the ticket number, whether it's a set time frame or a variable time frame. And variable means that it's a window. It gives them the number of pre-approved hours. On Field Nation, you'll see a ticket come out and it'll be $50 an hour, $65 an hour, what have you, and it'll show up to 2 hours. So that is the pre-approved amount, and I want my field techs to know that there is a cap, and if we approach that cap, then we've got to start communicating with the client and let them know this job is going over for these reasons and I need additional time. Are you going to approve it? Are we good to proceed and keep going? By doing that communication side, that really helps to ensure on the back end when I do the billing that I don't have a fight and an argument with the client. They know what's going on. What I found is a lot of techs will just go silent and they'll work through the problem and get it fixed. But if you don't communicate with the client and they don't know why did this take 4 hours when we had it budgeted for 2 hours, by ghosting the client, you create all kinds of problems on the back end trying to get paid for this additional time. So it's critical that you communicate. I've really designed the database to make my life as the owner and the administrator, or if I have a dispatcher in the future, much more streamlined, to have a defined system where the tickets move through a planned process and gets all the way down to the billing phase, and it's easy to bill. I track what the client is paying us. I've now integrated files that I can upload that the client requires. Many clients are email based. They don't have a website for you to go pull information from like you would for a Field Nation or Work Market. They literally email us a PDF work order. Now I can go into my database and take that emailed work order and attach it to what I call a trip log, because we have a ticket record and we have trip log records. I do that because a lot of times you may have one ticket, but you may have multiple trips. So I track each trip as a trip log. I can attach that PDF work order to the trip log. When my technician gets on site, they do their check-in process. The Google Calendar, I put a link that jumps them directly to that trip log, so they don't have to search, they don't have to do anything else besides go to their calendar and click the link that jumps them right to their trip log. In that trip log, they have that uploaded work order and any procedural documents, anything that the client sends me, I upload it and attach it to that trip log. The idea for me is I'm trying to make things as streamlined as possible for my field technicians so that they can focus on getting on site, reporting on site, and doing the job. Another thing that I've integrated into this database that I've built is my timesheet and my payroll. My technicians can clock in at the beginning of the day, they can clock out for lunch, they can clock back in after lunch or after an extended break if we don't have service calls for a block of hours. Then at the end of the day, they can clock out, and then all the time is auto-calculated. I've also built in some other custom features that apply for us. I've been able to also build in different views where I, as the administrator, can see everything, and then the technicians have their own view of the same forms. They can only edit certain fields. That keeps the data integrity intact. I know that they cannot go in and mess with things in a way that would be beneficial to them. That way I know that when they check in or check out, I know what time it was. The other thing that I've built into my database is my equipment tracking and my tools and supplies. For every employee that I have, I check out a van full of tools and supplies to them. It's very tedious to do a checkout, but I found that it is a necessary thing to protect me as the owner. When the employee leaves the company, it allows me to know exactly what was in the van when they started, and then I know what tools they have lost and not told me about, or tools that they simply never turned back in upon termination. That allows me to recover costs so that I'm not losing hundreds or thousands of dollars from tools that were never returned, or the whole, my word against his word. Well, that wasn't in my van. Well, yes, it was, because we filled out a form and we itemized everything that went in your van and you signed the form, it was there. I've integrated all of that into the database so that even the employee can go into their profile and they can click a link that shows all of the items checked out to them. And that has benefits for the employee as well, because that technician might go, oh, do I have something like a voltmeter? Something that they don't use every single day. They could jump into the database and do a search and look at their list for voltmeter and see, oh, okay, it's in the van somewhere, and I just got to figure out where. All those things that I check out to the technician, I call company assets. And I try to be as forgiving as possible on that without jeopardizing the financial stability of the company, obviously. For example, I don't hard track things like boxes of cable and RJ45 ends and keystones, all the little teeny tiny things. The next thing that I've implemented into my database, as I have to drop speed right quick, it's one of those super fast. Let's go from 75 to 65 to 55 right now. Another thing that I built into my database is vehicle mileage, vehicle maintenance, and overall vehicle tracking. On my check-in form that the employees fill out when they get to the job site, one of the questions it asks them is what the mileage is when they get to the site. That will give me all of the mileage for that vehicle with dates, and it will give me the mileage start, mileage end for that trip, and it will give me a ticket number. So I've got a really good history built for any potential audits. And at the end of the year, I can run a report and see the total amount of mileage that we've driven to use that as a deduction. And if you don't know, if you're new to this industry, you can deduct every mile that you drive that is business related. Every year it changes, and this is 2025. I think for this last calendar year, it was 65 cents a mile or something like that. You can Google it and see what the amount is in this particular year when you're watching this. When you're a field tech, you are driving a ton, and so you are wearing your car out. Over time, you're going to put 30,000 miles a year on your car when the average person maybe does 18,000. Drop a comment in the video. Tell us how many miles you're putting on your car every year. I'm really curious. The mileage side is pretty automated because I've got the technicians entering that for me. Then I put in maintenance. So anytime I have the van taken in for an oil change or a repair, or I replace a part on it, then I go to a vehicle record where I'm tracking the vehicle. I've got the VIN number, I've got the tag number, the fact that we have a turnpike tag in it. When does the registration renew? And then I've got a subform set up with maintenance. So I can enter in the date, what the mileage was when we did the maintenance, where we got the maintenance done. If I buy something from AutoZone or O'Reilly's that has lifetime warranty, I have a field to notate that it is lifetime warranty, or if it's 12-month warranty or whatever, and then what maintenance or repairs were done. The other thing that I track in the database is, of course, all of my clients. I have records for every client. It has sub-records that shows me all the tickets that I've ran for that client, gives me all their contacts, all of their addresses, their websites, notes about them. I track whether I have turned in my insurance certificate to them, whether they're active, inactive, what their pay rates generally are. Then I take that database that I work out of every day, and I have made the direct client package database a part of that. When a technician buys the direct client package, the data that they're looking at in that version of the database is literally pulling records from my day-to-day active database. So it's 100% integrated, which means if I find out something new about a client and I add a new contact or change information about them, then the people that are part of the direct client package will see those changes. If I add a new client, they will see that new client in the list. Eventually, I would like to take the database that I'm using day to day that integrates with the direct client package, and I would like to be able to make it available to all technicians. So you could actually manage your own company using this same layout, the same forms, and the same online benefits. And I'll offer it for just a small monthly fee. Or if you're a direct client package customer, then I will give it to you for free for a period of time. So there's a lot on the horizon. I'm excited about what is coming. It's really just a question of time for me. I work on either the direct client package or my internal database almost every single day. Once I get the development completed where I can make it available to the public, I will make an announcement for that. If you are a part of the direct client package, then you're going to get first crack at it. You get to be my beta testers and see if you can break it before I offer it to the public. But the fact that I'm using it every single day, it gives me confidence that when I do roll it out, I should have most of the bugs worked out. I'm sure there'll still be some things, but you know how that goes. Anyway, I'm very excited about what I've been able to accomplish in just a few short months and for literally no development costs. I mean, that's what a world we live in, that somebody like me, I mean, I'm almost 50 years old and I am not a developer. I'm not a programmer. And I've been able to pull this off. Now, granted, I've worked with databases for 25 years. So I have some foundational knowledge about databases. And I've done some light HTML coding and things like that, but I don't know how to code in Java. I know some basics of PHP, but for me to get anywhere near this level of functionality, way outside my league. My database is much more than just a place to track tickets. I've created an entire ecosystem to basically manage my entire company. What's really just absolutely mind-boggling about the AI side of it is if I'm sitting there working in my database doing something, I mean, I'm doing billing or I'm working on a ticket or what have you, if I'm like, man, I would love to be able to click this button and have it just jump right to this thing or have it automate this or do that, if I can think of it and then take the form code that I've built and copy it into Grok and say, hey, Grok, I want to make this button or this function happen when I do X, Y, and Z. It just tells you how to do it. Now, it takes work to kind of go back and forth and test, and you know, I'm not saying that it's just automatic by any means, but it gets done. You know, there are times that I spend 8 hours trying to implement one particular thing because it's just so much back and forth and it breaks something and it can be messy. And then sometimes I go in and I tell Grok to do something and it gives me code that I paste in and it works in 5-10 minutes. It's amazing and frustrating all at the same time. But the bottom line is I am just doing things that I would never be able to do by myself. If I paid somebody else to do it, I would spend thousands of dollars to do what I've done to this point. I mean, one of my forms alone has 3,000 lines of code. It's a little bit involved, if you know what I'm saying. I don't think I could have personally ever done that. I wouldn't have had the time, let's put it that way. From an intelligence perspective and a learning perspective, I probably could have done it if that's all I was doing. But I'm trying to run a business. I'm trying to manage employees. I'm trying to do this YouTube channel, help people with the direct client package. I'm doing all these things. I don't have time to learn something and be an expert at it. To me, that's the game-changing part about AI. AI is leveling the playing field. And honestly, I would encourage all of you to think about your day-to-day life and things that you need to do or need to track. I think anybody with a technical mind that has a decent understanding of how databases work and websites work, I think you could build your own database, your own website, your own app, whatever it is. It's an incredible time to be alive. I remember thinking a few years ago, you know, once the internet came along and we had streaming services and all this stuff, and thinking, man, what are we going to do next? What's going to be the next big thing? I could not imagine what that thing would be, but I knew, based on experience, that something would evolve and something would come out that would be life-changing again, like the internet was. Who would have dreamed that we would be at this place at this time in my lifetime? And now it's just going to accelerate at an exponential rate. A lot of people live in fear of AI, but I'm excited. If you're a person that can shift and move with change, then you should be fine. You just need to figure out how to embrace the change, how to learn about the change, how to get involved with it, how to do something in your own life to apply it, and man, dive off into it. I think there's so many great opportunities. One aspect of that is your job at risk with AI? As a field tech, I thought about this during the big pandemic. Field technicians and IT people were considered essential employees. And I think about that with the AI revolution going on right now. What aspects of IT are more resilient to the changes of AI? And I think being a field tech right now has a lot of security. In time, AI robots may be able to do field work, but I think that particular aspect is a long way down the road. So I think that being a field tech is pretty AI proof. The fact that I've been able to develop a full-scale database in just a few months without being a programmer should scare the living tar out of every programmer out there, because you're not needed in a lot of cases. There's still plenty of people that don't have my knowledge that are going to need that skill set. But I kind of think of it like the newspaper industry. There still are newspapers out there and they have a place, but that market is shrinking. The last time I bought a newspaper was for Christmas coupons, and that was disappointing. I brought that home and my wife looked through it, and there's just nothing there. It's all online. Think about what you're doing as a career, what you're doing as your skill set, and either figure out how to leverage AI to make yourself stronger, to produce better, to be faster, or you need to find an industry that's still a little bit immune to AI. We're not going to stop it. It's a question of figuring out how to make it work for you and protect yourself. Hope you enjoyed my ramblings today as I drove. If you got value out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And as always, let's get you out in the field making money, or just behind a computer screen coding. I'll see you in the next video.